I'd like to start today by extending my sympathies to the family of Grace Lynch, but also to the family of the deceased from today's bus accident and those recovering in hospital, and the 183 families from last year, 9 of those in Mayo. And I think it's important to remember those people, because that's why we're here. And even though in my county we were 19 in 2024 and we reduced to 9 last year, every single life lost is too many. I think the RSA have to be commended for good work that they're doing, and indeed they were in the audiovisual room yesterday and gave us a good presentation, but we can all agree that lots more work needs to be done. I think one of the first things that could be done in a very easy way is to update the Traffic Watch online. Right now it's still that form that you can fill in, but with so many cars having live dash cam, it's a no-brainer that we should be able to upload that and be able to prosecute from that. So that should be something that's done very quickly. I'm looking at tackling car enthusiasts in an area in my hometown, home county called Derrynumera. It's the local recycling centre. Car enthusiasts gather there most Saturday nights, up to 100 cars at a time. Families are struggling to get their young children to sleep. But more than that, there's donuts been done and lots of dangerous driving. So a holistic approach is needed to meet young people where they're at. There's a lot of car enthusiasts in Westport, in Mayo, in Donegal, in Galway, and we have to meet them where they're at as well in a holistic way. So bringing them to the table and offering them safe, organised ways to show off the cars that they're so proud of in a safe manner. We also need to tackle distracted and dangerous driving in general, and I think what I would love to see is the work that the RSA are doing with young people in transition year, at the AXA Roadshow, going around to things like the Ploughing Championships where they're using virtual reality. We know from the Defence Forces and from nursing and medical courses that virtual reality is having a real positive effect on real-life behaviour. So can we look at expanding virtual reality scenarios of driving on ice, driving when you're tired and falling asleep, having an accident with a phone in your hand, driving under the influence, and make that as maybe a mandatory 1-hour finisher to the 11 hours already required by a learner driver? Because it's one thing doing it in schools, but it's great to do it right before people take their last test. There's a lot of deputies in here today talking about the frustration with driving slowly and speed limits coming down to 30% to 30 kilometres per hour in some areas. But we have to remind ourselves of the statistics. If you are hit at 60 kilometres per hour, 40% of people might survive. If you're hit at 50 kilometres per hour, 70% of people might survive. And if you're hit at 30 kilometres an hour, more than 90% of people survive. If you are a driver that hits somebody at 60 kilometres an hour, you will have wished every second after that you were only driving at 30 kilometres per hour. So you might be frustrated today getting to work on a 60-kilometre road, on a 50-kilometre road, but I guarantee you, if a child happens to run out in front of you and you're doing the correct speed limit, you will not regret it for the rest of your life. I also want to take the moment to thank Hayley Coleman and Miles O'Brien, who came to speak at a road safety event that I held in Mayo last year, and I think it demonstrated to everybody there the benefit of hearing real-life stories. And again, if this can be incorporated into the learner driver courses, I think that's going to be the real impact when you hear real-life changing stories. Miles O'Brien is a talented chef who himself would have talked about the fact that he was a novice motorcyclist and had an accident that has left him paralysed, and he's graciously giving up his time to talk to people about his experiences and what he wished he knew then. And Hayley Coleman is a talented makeup artist who had a life-changing accident where her friend passed away and she was left with life-changing injuries. And anybody, whether it's at the AXA Roadshow or wherever it is, anybody that gets to hear firsthand a life-changing experience, it does impact their driver behaviour. We know that, and so the more of that can be rolled out, I think when people are doing their learner driver experiences, that will be really beneficial. I'll finish in my last 20 seconds to say we definitely need more streamlined funding for the lollipop people. I have a situation in my hometown, Westport, where there's a school that have been without a lollipop person for a long time, and we know that that's because it's a short-term role for a couple of hours a day, but we know it's a vital role, and I think streamlined funding across local authorities for lollipop people is definitely something that should be considered.